always.
We have so much to discuss. That border, everyone I'm talking to in all of the swing states, even people in the Midwest and Northeast are saying the border has become an issue in our local election, in our state election. Why are people so frustrated with what's going on, and how big a factor do you think it'll be on Tuesday night?
I think it's going to be an enormous factor. Crime, the border, inflation, these are issues that people are talking about around their kitchen tables every night around the dinner table. And these are the things that absolutely Joe Biden and the Democrats do not want to talk about. All he can talk about is demonization, going after Republicans, hypocritically going after Republicans. And in fact, the day after Obama warned about going over the top in rhetoric, demonizing your opponents, or someone will get hurt. I think that was his words. The very next day, President Biden comes out and demonizes Republicans. It's just incredible what we're seeing. The hypocrite that he is, and so many of these Democrats. And let me tell you, it's not lost on the American people. And I believe you're going to see this on next Tuesday.
Yeah, Congressman, I think you're right. And I wanted to ask you a follow-up question about President Biden's speech last night. There was a lot of divisive rhetoric in there, but he seems to be countering reality with the Democrat narrative. Gas prices aren't that high, inflation's not bad, the border's closed. A lot of things that I think Americans recognize as not true. How much of his speech do you think landed effectively with the American people?
I think very little to none. As I said, he's not saying the things, he's not giving us solutions. All he's doing is just going after Republicans. 74 million people voted for President Trump last time. And he's the divider in chief. He's the hypocrite in chief. One of the 10 Commandments says, "Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor." And I don't think that President Biden has ever heard that before. And I tell you the truth, I wouldn't want to be standing next to him on Judgment Day, because he has borne so much false witness against his neighbors. It's incredible to see how hypocritical that this man really is. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's kind of remarkable that last night he was talking about truth. This is a man who told us that his son, and he had nothing to do with his son's business dealings. We found out that wasn't true. His Homeland Security Secretary says the border's completely secure. 2.4 million people illegally cross, 600,000 gotaways on top of that. They have a real problem with truth, yet they're trying to own truth in these final days of the election. Are voters smart enough to see through that?
I think they are. The CDC and this administration said they were science, as Fauci said, and now they're the ones that seem to have have a monopoly on truth. I think the American people can see through this sham. They know what's going on. They're paying through the nose for their groceries, for their gasoline. The ones who live up north where it gets real cold, they're gonna be paying so much more for heating oil. It's just really, what can you say except that they want to point the finger away from their self-created problems, and that goes for the border and inflation and foreign policy, demonization of police, crime, you name it, the drug problems that have come across the border, and really they want to control everyone too. And as I don't know, as you probably already know, there's a group out of Texas, not in my district, but very, very close to my district, called True the Vote. They were the ones that helped Dinesh D'Souza come up with 2,000 mules about the deliverance of ballots during the middle of the night, and they have been arrested for refusing to divulge confidential informants that they base a lot of their research on, and they've been arrested. Incredible. We're living in the Soviet Union now. This is what Thomas Jefferson talked about when he said that we every once in a while the tyrannical wing of our political system is going to be taken over, and we might have to fight a revolution. We need to push back. We've got to have elections. We certainly want to do it peacefully, rather than what Thomas Jefferson said about watering the tree of liberty with blood of tyrants and patriots occasionally. We want to do it right, and we want to make sure that that election is true and that it is accurate, and we will all have confidence in it. It's an honest election with integrity. That's what's got to happen.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely. Congressman, we have somewhat of a bleak outlook going forward as far as energy is concerned. Our SPR is drained. We've got a diesel shortage. I think we've got relatively weeks left before we run out of diesel, which is what carries the gas to gas stations across America. You are such a great advocate as a representative for the state of Texas, an energy state. On day one in the 118th Congress, what needs to be done to unleash American energy again?
We're going to have to start giving permits out. There's 4,400 requested permits. The administration is going to have to start honoring these. They're going to have to start, granting these permits. They're going to have to start leasing this offshore and onshore as well up in Alaska public lands for exploration. We cannot any longer be held dependent on Russia and Venezuela and the Iranians, the biggest, exporters of terrorism in the world, for our energy. And I don't think the average American realizes just how the gravity of a situation where all of a sudden we're going to have a shortage of diesel. Diesel fuel runs trains, runs trucks. It delivers the goods back and forth to get them to market. And the agricultural aspect, our food on the table, fuel to keep us warm, to get us transported back and forth, to help our allies, instead of being, dependent upon Russia, for goodness sakes. And the very first week, we need to unleash our own production. The great state of Texas is the largest producing state in the whole United States. I represent more petrochemical refining facilities in my district, the 36th district in the greater Houston area, southeast Texas, basically Houston over to Louisiana, than any other district in the whole country. And there are certain things that we can do, and those are some of them. And I'll tell you something else. One of the first bills we're going to offer is getting rid of this plan to hire 87,000 new IRS agents and giving $80 billion to the budget of the Internal Revenue Service. We don't want the IRS coming after Americans in a terrible economy like we're seeing right now, where prices are skyrocketing. We've got to take care of the working class people of this country. We have to unleash our energy producers, and that spills over into agriculture, which gets food to our table. And what you just asked me, Amanda, is so relevant to the future of our country. And I think the people on November the 8th, next Tuesday, need to realize that, and I think many of them do, and return the majorities to the Republicans in the House and the Senate.
Sir, we just got about 30 seconds left. There are a lot of Republicans talking about reinforcing the Holman Rule, something that grew out of the Congress in right after the Civil War. You can defund a bureaucrat who doesn't abide by the law, doesn't cooperate with Congress. What do you think about that?
I'm all for it. I think this would be a great thing. It's going to be, I'm very supportive of defunding wasteful, corrupt agencies and the federal employees, bureaucrats. The Holman Rule essentially lets House lawmakers change a federal employee's salary or position without any input from the Appropriations Committee. Now, this is going to be, this will be up to our leadership, but I am all for this. I think many of my colleagues will be demanding it. And this is, when we don't have control of the White House, this is a way that we can go around the bureaucracy to start remedying some of the problems of the deep state that has us captive.